Right, well, good evening to you, 9 p.m. here at Radio Free Brooklyn, which means that you are listening to Sitting with Gianluca. I am Gianluca. I will be sitting with you till 10 p.m. I want to thank greatly Get Rich Quick. I'm going to be playing some cool, funky stuff. I'm going to be doing a birthday salute to the band's Rick Danko a little bit later on, with some personal memories I have of his, because I actually knew him in the last 3 years of his life, and he actually even asked me to write his sleeve notes. Anyway, before I get to all of that, I am going to start tonight, I'm going to start the way I always do, by buttering up, well, firstly by thanking Get Rich Quick, and also by buttering up any Get Rich Quick listeners. And I'm going to do this by playing a track, because I'm all about money, and this is a track about having no money, and it's called No Money.
You've lost control, differences on your head. Keep what you stole, 'cause now it's dead. This is the price you did not count when you were counting me out. It's your disease crawling to my view. Take what
Money, no money, no money, no money. I think I have an inkling about what that feels like. That was a band called The Evans, and off an album called Get Evans, and that track was called No Money, and I dedicate that to all Get Rich Quick listeners and the Get Rich Quick crew, because I really enjoy that show. I got a Sitting With Gianluca has a Facebook page called Sitting With Gianluca. Gianluca spelt with a G. There's also a link to it on the Radio Free Brooklyn. There's an Instagram account, Sitting With GT, and through that, told you that to tell you this, that through that, Tony from Bed-Stuy dropped me a line and said, and thanked me for playing some Dr. John last week, because it was Dave Bartholomew's 100th birthday. Thanked me for playing Dr. John and asked me, do you mind playing some more Dr. John? The answer to that is, well, I don't know. I'm joking, of course. The answer is hell's yeah. And I am sick for anything New Orleans. And so I thought I would not play the classic Dr. John. I thought I'd dig a little bit deep, go into something he did later. When Hurricane Katrina happened, he was living in New York, and he'd been living in New York for a couple of decades at least. And but he was so affected by what happened to his hometown that he wrote an album in 2005 to honor his hometown and to bring attention to the devastation that Hurricane Katrina had inflicted on his, where he became everything. Anyway, so here's a track of it. It's called Wade 4. It's a whole song cycle about being flooded and the loss of community. Hey, staple singers here on Radio Free Brooklyn, and that was them doing Wade in the Water off their album Freedom Highway way back when. Traditional Spiritual, that one. Actually, preceding that was Wade for the Hurricane Suite, and that was a song cycle that Dr. John did when Hurricane Katrina happened. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that was, by the way, for Tony in Bed-Stuy on the 30th of December. While we weren't looking, John Hartford, the late John Hartford, but anyway, John Hartford had a birthday, and he would have been 82. His two loves were music and the Mississippi River. He came from St. Louis. And he had he was a steamboat pilot, and that was his love as well. And he also happened to write, very early on in his career, possibly the most famous song in the world, No Mean Feat. And in the early 70s, that song got 4 Grammys, and that song was Gentle on My Mind. Everyone covered it. Elvis covered it. I'll be playing a couple of those artists later on, but Glenn Campbell made it hugely famous. It got 4 Grammys. John Hartford's original version got it. Glenn Campbell's version got it. John Hartford got an award for Best Writer of that year. Anyway, Gentle on My Mind. I'm going to play, in honor of John Hartford's birthday, I'm going to play John Hartford doing Gentle on My Mind. Not the version that got the Grammy, actually. I'm going to play John Hartford doing it later on live. Just him and banjo, just being really chill and just singing a song he wrote way back when. Happy birthday, John Hartford.
It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is clear to walk. That makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. And it's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory, that keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on their columns now that binds me, or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk along some railroad track and find that you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memory, for hours you're just gentle on my mind. Oh, the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone. I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and a summer sun might burn me till I'm blind, but not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I dip my cup of soup back from the gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard roughened in coal pile and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cupped hands round a tin can I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waving from the back roads by the rivers of my memory, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind.
It's knowing that your door is always open and the path is free to walk that makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. And it's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stain that have dried up on some line that keeps you in the back road by the rivers of my memory, keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on some columns now that binds us, or something that somebody said because they thought we'd fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I'm drifting through the marketplace and find that you're moving on the back road by the rivers of my memory, and for hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman crying to her mother 'cause she turned and you were gone, I still might walk for hours, tears of joy might stain my face, and a summer sun might burn me till I'm blind, but not to where I cannot see you moving on the back roads by the river's flow and gentle on my mind. Shutters creak in autumn wind that make me draw inside myself in silence, and just like now I sit and watch the endless chase of leaves across my yard, and laying down my hairbrush I lean back within my window seat and find that you're moving on in back roads by the rivers of my memory, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind, gentle on my mind, gentle on my mind, gentle on my
knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk, that makes me know that I can leave my sleeping bag behind your couch. Right there. Yes, it does. Yes, it be right there. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds, and your ink stains that have dried upon some line. You're on the back road, the rivers of my memory. You ever chill on my mind.
Aretha. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Gentle on My Mind. Aretha singing John Hartford, Gentle on My Mind. And a great interpretation of that. See, she really took it in a different way. Gentle on My Mind, Aretha Franklin. Preceding that was a Gentle on My Mind, a really wacky doodle bizarro version of it, off an album called Nashville Gold. Well, Country Moog Nashville Gold is what it's called, and it's all country songs on synthesizer, and that was by Gil Trithel. And preceding that was Country on My Mind. Gentle on My Mind by the great jazz player. Jazz singer by the great jazz singer. Nancy Wilson. And preceding that was the man that everyone nicked it off. The great and the great and the only John Hartford singing his Gentle on My Mind by himself, in front of a live audience for a Steve Goodman birthday tribute. In case you just tuned in, you are listening to Sitting with Gianluca here at Radio Free Brooklyn. Radio Free Brooklyn, we are broke. We're a community station. And if you have anything left over from the year, look behind your sofas or whatever, because we depend on you to do this. We're all doing it for nothing. We love doing it. And we really are dependent on you to drop some coins in the hat. Nothing too small, certainly nothing too big. We're also a registered non-profit, which means you get your money back. Hey, and we'll be starting some teaching media literacy to kids actually this year. So it all goes to it not only does it keep our lights on, it helps the community. In advance, I thank you. If you go to the Radio Free Brooklyn website, you can find a ton of links saying donate. We make it very easy for you. It takes a few seconds. And nothing. I'm going to play some more music because it is, I don't really know much about what people do in January, but I've heard that some people decide to give up drinking in January and to flush out all their toxins that they've accumulated in the previous year or the previous week. So I should probably, or will definitely, play a song about that, but I'm going to go way back in time to the 30s. Charlie Poole was a very famous at the time banjo player. He didn't live very long. The Carolinas was mill. A lot of cotton mills were down there, and a lot of the milling places would teach people music. They ran the schools and they taught music, and one of the beneficiaries of that was a guy called Charlie Poole. He had the hottest band, and he would sort of play dances and picnics and parties and tear it up. But he also liked to live fast. He lived fast, died young. And here is one of the songs he writ and he played, and many people have covered. It's a lie, of course, because he never gave it up, but it's called Goodbye Boots.
Oh, goodbye boots, forevermore. My booting days will soon be old. I had a good time, and it couldn't agree. You see what boots has done for me. She tore my clothes, she swelled my head. So goodbye boots, I'm going to bed. Oh, I had a good time, and it couldn't agree. You see what boots has done for me. Oh, goodbye boots, forevermore.
I I love Charlie Paul. But it just occurred to me that maybe some Sitting with Gianluca listeners don't share the sentiments of Goodbye Booze. And so I'm going to segue into something else, maybe more appropriate. By the way, this is Charlie Paul. He's wonderful. I love this type of music. Because Sitting with Gianluca's on a Saturday night, I don't know how much raggly-taggly old-time music I can get away with playing, because I know Saturday night, and I try and keep the revs up. So please drop me a line, let me know what you think. Sitting with Gianluca has a Facebook page. Gianluca is Gianluca. I've just opened a Radio Free Brooklyn email, actually, sittingwith@radiofreebrooklyn.com. I'd love to hear from you, actually. I love feedback. I'm going to say this, that Billy Connolly was highly influenced by Hamish, I can't pronounce his Hamish Imlach. He also didn't live very long. He was very, very large. He had very, very large appetites. He liked to drink and smoke and do anything that was coming his way. He did not want to leave a beautiful corpse. But anyway, here he is saying the opposite of Goodbye Booze. And this is called Whiskey and...
Definitely a mental block here. Straight on.
Wow. Yes.
Give me strong whiskey and weak women, everything will be just fine. Give me weak whiskey and a strong woman, you'll break this heart of mine. Yeah. I love women, whiskey too. When I get drunk, there's nothing I won't do. Give me strong whiskey and weak women, everything will be just fine. Come on. Gun yourself down. Give me old whiskey and young women, everything's going my way. Give me young whiskey and an old woman, they'll be hell today. Whiskey's fine when it's aged in wood, when a woman's age is not so good. Give me old whiskey and young women, everything'll be okay. Come on, young Archie, well, he's not so old. Yo. Give me good whiskey and bad women, sit back and watch the screen. Give me bad whiskey and a good woman, I won't do a damn thing. I like my whiskey dark and strong, I like my women loving long. Give me good whiskey and bad women, everything will be okay.
Good times. Hamish Imlach, I can't pronounce his name. Whiskey and women. He knew a thing or two about that, because he didn't live very long. And by the way, Radio Free Brooklyn in no way endorses the ridiculous activities illustrated in these ridiculous songs. I might, but Radio Free Brooklyn does not. And preceding that was Charlie Paul and Goodbye Booze, lies, all lies, because Charlie Paul didn't live very long either. But I'm going to move along now to, before I run out of time, Rick Danko from the band. He was a bass player from the band. I just realized it would have been his birthday on December the 29th. that would have made him, I think, 70. It was either 74, 5, or 6. They got his birth certificate wrong, and he never bothered to correct it. But anyway, he would have been around in his mid-70s. And Rick Danko was a bass player that he had the most beautiful voice. And I actually knew Rick Danko in the last 3 years of his life. I got to know him reasonably well. I had interviewed him and in New York, and we went to a show at the Bowery Ballroom together. Lost Super 7, in case you're curious. And then sometime after that, he was playing at the Bottom Line, and I dropped in on him, read him the article I'd written about him, and in it I had written something that I didn't particularly think was a big deal. And I thought that it had been written about before, and it might well have been, but he seemed to think not, and I was very happy. Anyway, what I had said about him and the band was about their first album as a solo band, Music from Big Pink. That I said that when Music from Big Pink came out, it was a height of the psychedelia and Jimi Hendrix and Cream and all these great instrumentalists and Zeppelin and all the guitar slingers with very, very long solos. And but Music from Big Pink, when it came out in the middle of that, had none. And I was reading him this article I'd written about him, which for me was somewhat nerve-wracking. Anyway, he when I got to that, he got up and shook my hand and gave me his phone number and really was very touched that I had written that. And he said, hey, look me up anytime you're in Woodstock and stay in touch. And of course, I did. I'm going to start off by playing a track that Rick Danko wrote with Bob Dylan that the band used to play all the time, This Wheel's on Fire. And I'm going to start, because Rick Danko sings it, and you can hear what a wonderful singer he was, and plus what a wonderful band the band was. He wrote This Wheel's on Fire with Bob Dylan. This is him, this is a band playing it live at the height of their powers. And then I'm going to follow it by that album, the CD that was released posthumously after Rick Danko died. I would have written the sleeve notes had he lived long enough. Dang. It's recorded by an older man. It's sung by an older man and reflectively just looking back on himself. It's beautifully done. But anyway, here it is. Happy birthday, Rick. This Wheel's on Fire.
If your memory serves you well, we were going to meet again and wait. So I'm going to unpack all my things and set before it gets too late. No man alive will come to you with another tale to tell. But you know that we shall meet again if your memory serves you well. We serves you well. You'll remember that you are the one that called on me to call on them to get you your favors done. And after every plan had failed, there was nothing more to tell. But you know damn well we shall meet again, that your memory serves you well. This wheel's on fire, well it's rolling down the road. I just know that if I make next again, this wheel shall explode. I just know that if I next of kin, this wheel shall explode.
Oh, you see what I mean? That was Rick Danko off an album released posthumously, sadly, that I would have written the sleeve notes for, but alas, the Grim Reaper had different ideas. That, by the way, CD is called Times Like These. Beautiful, beautiful version of this Wheels on Fire. And preceding that was the original version of this Wheels on Fire, done with his with the band. And one of the things that you realized about Rick Danko almost immediately is that he belonged in music. He belonged in music. He belonged around stages and backstages and around musical instruments and musicians, just like a fish belongs in water. And he came from a really remote farming region in Ontario called Simcoe. You haven't heard of it, and no one's heard of it. But he grew up. His whole family played music, and he grew up in the period when you played music with your family to entertain yourself. All his brothers played, and check this out. He left school at 14 to become a professional musician. His biography say he left school at 15, but actually they got his birth certificate wrong. and he actually was 14 and already had his band and was playing gigs at 14, fronting his own band. Anyway, I'm going to say one thing, another testament to Rick Danko, is that tennis star Martina Navratilova once said that being a great tennis player was not about how well you play when you're playing well, but how well you play when you're playing badly. And when I knew Rick Danko, it was the last few years of his life, and he had seen, it was, let's say, he'd seen better days physically and professionally. You know, he was, his post-band days was way behind him. The arenas that the band played in had been replaced by cash gigs in small bars or opening slots for bands that, frankly, no one's ever heard of. And his handsome looks, you know, had kind of given way to 400 pounds of man. He was huge, and it's no secret that he had appetites that weren't very healthy. Let's put it that way. That said, he was super nice. No hint of arrogance or bitterness or don't you know who I am or don't you know who I used to be. He was just super nice and just professional and just always there for the gig. And he never blew a show. Actually, he could smoke a pack of cigarettes before going on stage and drink a picture of Coca-Cola, and I'd seen him do that, and he'd go on stage and sing like a bird. If you knew him for 10 minutes or 10 years, he was just Rick. He was just super lovely. Anyway, I'm getting a bit soppy. But anyway, I'm going to actually play at this point a tribute to Rick Danko, as a matter of fact. And this is called, by the way, The Day Rick Danko Died. It's a lovely tribute for people that presumably think the same that I do.
In Woodstock, all the day Rick Danko died. I was in Woodstock, all the day Rick Danko died. I climbed up on a bar stool beside a perfect stranger, and both of us cried. A guitar man, he used to play with Bob Dylan. He said he was a guitar man, he used to play with Bob Dylan. I don't know if I believed him, but to call his bluff tonight would surely kill him. Anybody's gonna cry for it.
Tune, that lovely tribute, and nice and bouncy too. Luke Doucette and the White Falcon, and that track was called The Day Rick Danko Died, and I dedicate that to the birthday of Rick Danko, who would have been either 74, 5 or 6, depending on what either was said on his birth certificate, what is said in Wikipedia, or whatever my bad math says. But that's how old he would have been. Happy birthday, Rick. In case you've just tuned in, you've just missed Sitting with Gianluca here at Radio Free Brooklyn. I've been Gianluca. I'm about to give it up now for Ben Speaks. It's up at 10 p.m. I'm going to play out with some lovely, some Rick Danko raising the hairs on the back of the neck. I was talking about his amazing professionality, given the fact that all he'd ever done since he was 14 is play music professionally. And if you went to see him in a cruddy bar room or whatever, he'd just turn up with an acoustic guitar and do a cash gig. There was some songs that he would play would just, the whole world would stop spinning. Time would stand still, and he just, with a guitar and his amazing voice, he could take you places that you didn't even know was there. It was like one of the wonders of the world. People would stop chattering, glasses would stop clinking, just life would be on pause for 3 minutes. And there was a couple of songs he could do that with. Twilight was one of them. It Makes No Difference was another one of them, of those songs that he could just do that with. And I'm going to play out with a song that he it's actually a song written by his former employer, Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan never recorded it officially. It was one of his outtakes. It's a track called Blind Willie McTell. And this is a live recording of Rick Danko doing it. So I'm going to wish you happy everything. I'm going to say good night to you. And I'm going to thank you for tuning in as well. And I'm going to leave you with this. Lie down, dim the lights, and get transported by the lyrics of this wonderful, wonderful song, Blind Willie McTell by Rick Danko.
Seen the arrow on the doorpost saying this land is condemned, all the way from New Orleans to Jerusalem. Well, I've traveled through East Texas. I've seen many a martyr fall. Well, I know one thing: nobody can sing them blues like Blind Willie McTell. Well, I heard the Rudolph singing as they were taking down the tent. The barren trees, all the stars above, were his only audience. Oh, them charcoal gypsy maidens, they could strut their feathers well. But I know one thing: nobody can sing them blues like Blind Willie McTell. A woman standing by the river, she is with some fine young handsome man. You see, he's all dressed just like a squire. He's got bootleg whiskey in his hand. There's a chain gang out on the highway. I could hear them God, he is in heaven. And we all want what is his. But that power and greed, the corruptible seed.